Welcome to this quarter's Patriot Lunch. My name is Will Marm. I'm a U.S. Army Special Forces veteran, a graduate of Bancroft Capital's esteemed veteran training program. Welcome to this quarter's Patriot Lunch featuring U.S. Marine Corps Master Sergeant Sean Sundey. Sean, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Will. Great to be here.
Yeah, we're gonna have a nice dialogue here. We're gonna cover a lot of really neat things. We're gonna learn about Sean. But to start, I want to give you a quick overview. This Patriot Lunch, why? We started this because we wanted to help, in line with Bancroft Capital's mission, we wanted to help transition military veterans and give them a light, give them a platform to be able to share their stories and to be able to have corporate America hear today Sean Sundey's stories. So with this Patriot Lunch, we succeed when relationships are made, strengthened. I'll connect you afterwards with Sean with a replay link. You can send that all out. And I encourage all of our audience members to get to know him. That's really important. And he's served our country, and it'd be great for him to try to understand what makes America tick outside of the military in your own industries. So we have a time for dialogue at the end. So if you like a question you want to ask or hear something else from Sean, just raise your Zoom hand, your text me, however you want to get to it, and we'll get you in the queue. An overview of Bancroft Capital. Most of you know about Bancroft Capital's special mission. We are a service-disabled, veteran-owned small business operating as an institutional broker, dealer, and small investment bank. We have a best-in-class veteran training program, which helps us accomplish our mission, which is to train and empower transitioning veterans to succeed in the financial services industry. Bancroft Capital takes the proceeds of the business to pay for the mission. The core lines of the business are cash management, public finance, fixed income, debt and equity capital markets, a secondary trading desk, and an investment bank. So please remember Bancroft Capital, if you have any desire or need for these services, we'd love to help you. So Sean, moving on to you. Pleased to welcome you today. Thank you so much for attending. You come to us in partnership with the Special Operators Transition Foundation. It's a nonprofit that's committed to helping SOF operators transition into their next career in corporate America. They've got a deep pipeline of talent, great Americans who are looking to figure out the world and make an impact in their next season of life and in your corporate spaces. So please take a look at their website, sotf.org, sotif.org, and let us know if you want an introduction. We're happy to do that for you. So for the main event, Sean served for 21 years in the U.S. Marine Corps Reconnaissance. He has management and leadership experience in domestic, global, special operations. He delivers expertise, perseverance. He's dedicated. He knows how to communicate and think clearly, plan and execute. And he can just get things done. He's solved some of the most complicated problem sets that we've seen over the last 20 years. We'll hear some of that today. He's had lots of awards, recognitions of his good work and his hard, his ability to get her done. Sean was a distinguished graduate of the Joint Special Operators University, JSOW, and also distinguished graduate of the famed Marine Corps Scout Sniper School. So Sean, that's a lot of me. I'm going to hear from you. We are grateful for you to be here. Thank you for your time. Please kick it off with an intro.
Yeah, thank you everyone for having me. First, big thank you to Bancroft Capital for hosting. It's like this is huge to help us kind of share our story and just see what else is out there. Also, thank you to the Special Operations Transition Foundation for pushing me towards Will and Bancroft Capital, and the work that they do really helps us. Being a veteran, this is all we've known for the last 20 plus years, and we learn that lingo. That's our lifestyle, and that really becomes our personality. So being able to transition back and to be a normal person more so, and realize like what it is that we want to do when we get out of the military is a huge help, and it's a great service that the SOTF provides. So with that, I'll pass it back over to you, Will. Thank you guys very much for having me. I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah, wonderful. Thanks. Great intro, Sean. So our first kind of dialogue, and that's really the theme here, which can dialogue back and forth and enjoy a nice conversation. Um, Tell me your origin story. Why did you join the Marine Corps? How did you think that that was a good idea and a righteous way to live?
Well, I'll start. I don't know that I ever really thought it was a good idea. My dad was command sergeant, retired command sergeant major in the Army. In high school, never planned on joining the military at all. A buddy of mine, one of my best friends to this day, approached me at football practice and was like, "Hey, let's go talk to this Marine recruiter. I just joined the Marine Corps." So I'm 17 years old. I'm a junior in high school. And I was like, "All right, cool. Yeah, I'm not doing anything else. I haven't applied to colleges or anything else yet." And so go talk to this recruiter that night. I go home, tell my dad and mom, I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna join the Marine Corps. Um, and I'm gonna be in the infantry." And they're like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa." My mom and dad both served in the army. And excuse me, my dad was like, "Hey, you need to go be an officer." So I was like, "Well, I don't want to do that. Like, you've been successful, you're successful outside of the army. I want to be enlisted and do that." So they were like, "Well, you're 17, we have to sign for you. Um, go into reserves." So I did. Um, went in the reserves. My plan was to go to Auburn and attend the platoon leaders course, become an officer. I was interested in flying and doing that piece. And then 6 months after I got out of all my initial training, immediately deployed to Fallujah. So now I'm 18 years old, going into Fallujah as part of Reserve Artillery Battery out of Huntsville, Alabama. And so it's very new to everybody. So everybody's first deployment, the command's first deployment overseas. And we are not we didn't bring our cannons. We were a provisional rifle company. So we were doing things like quick reaction forces, standing post outside of Camp Fallujah, doing dismounted foot patrols, mounted vehicle patrols all through the city and the surrounding areas. So it was a weird time, especially being brand new in the Marine Corps. So our goal in all of that was just to support each other and bring everybody back home. And we were successful in that. Given what time that was in 2004 in Fallujah, it was kind of open season in that city, and we were successful. And it was just part of the teamwork and everything that we did, the rehearsals, everything that we practiced, and putting that to work. And then some of it's a little bit of luck too. Um, but we didn't know what we didn't know. And to give you kind of a funny story, we had just gotten into Fallujah and we're doing our turnover with the unit that we're relieving. And 18-year-old Sean Sundey, he's got a squad automatic weapon, doesn't know anything and doesn't get briefed on much. He's like, "Hey, get in the turret and go do this. We're going to go out here." So we've been driving around. Camp Fallujah's huge. You wouldn't think these big bases are that big. And driving around, don't even realize we left the gate. And they're like, "Hey, all right, everybody dismount, go ahead and hold security." So we're out there. Um, and I jump out, everything's super serious. There's cars and Iraqi nationals lined up down this road. And I'm like, "All right, hey, this is it. We don't know who's who, everything like that." And then 10, 20 minutes go by. And then they're like, "All right, get back in the trucks." I turn around and the gate of Camp Fallujah that's guarded with heavy machine guns and all that stuff is right there. And I'm like, "Oh man, what am I doing?" So I learned that lesson of like, hey, let's pay attention to what is actually going on. So came back from that deployment, lat move or transitioned over to active duty in the infantry to be a tow gunner, shooting anti-tank missiles off of Humvees or tripods, and then went did that for 3 years, two deployments with them, and then lat moved over to recon. I was introduced to recon on my last deployment with them on a Marine Expeditionary Unit.
Mhm.
Transitioned over to recon in 2009, and that's where I found my home, and have been there ever since.
Wow, that's quite an intro to the Marine Corps, right? You sign up, you get your parents to sign for you, which is a very foreign concept, right? But like you have to do that if you're not 18, and unless you lie about your age, I guess a lot of people have done that before too. Um, and then you go to Fallujah. I might have left Fallujah right before you.
Okay.
I left in right after the invasion in '03, late '03 timeframe. And
Okay.
it was not looking pretty. And you got there to to experience pretty much the wrath of the town. Um, and you succeeded to bring to come home and bring everybody home that you went with in your squad. And that's a very important metric of success. Um, um, and then you transition to recon. So why did you choose recon? Was that part of the carrot that was at the package they offered you? Or well, first you went infantry and then you did a MEU, is that correct?
Correct.
Nice.
Um,
Let's talk before we get into the recon. Let's talk about the MEU and what that type of, what is that? Most people don't know what a MEU is, and it's an acronym. Could you explain that?
Sure. So the MU is the Marine Expeditionary Unit. So it's a Marine Air Ground Task Force at sea. So it's commonly referred to as like America's 911 like response force. So they have East Coast goes over into like CENTCOM area and they're able to respond. The West Coast kind of more focuses on Indo-PACOM. And it's got kind of muddied up a little bit. With the previous fight that we were just wrapping up in Iraq and Afghanistan, everybody was going to CENTCOM. There were constantly two MEUs, and one would be coming out, one would be going back, and they high five on the way and just change responsibilities. So what it is, a Marine Air Ground Task Force. So you've got an air combat element, you've got a ground combat element. That's all your infantry, about 1,200 infantry Marines. You've got your logistics combat element, and then you've got your command element.
Mhm.
And the command element oversees the other three portions of the MAGTAF, Marine Air Ground Task Force. And to describe what a Marine Expeditionary Unit is, it is the most uncertain and fluid environment. I've always said that if you can be successful leading on a Marine Expeditionary Unit, you're going to be successful anywhere. Because everybody in the Marine Corps exists to support the infantry. But now we're on this Navy ship and we're just cargo. We are just riding along with these guys and we are in their way all the time, taking up time in the chow hall line, taking up space in the gym, just waiting for something to happen. So then you've got the Navy to deal with. Also, everybody has to make everybody happy. Otherwise, it's a terrible command relationship and nobody gets along and everybody's mad at the end of the 7-month deployment. So being able to be successful and manage relationships in that environment, I think is the true difficult piece. Whenever you get called to do your job, you're just doing it. You do it. That's what you train
Yeah.
for.
Yeah, and just to highlight for the audience members, and the key skill out of a MEU deployment, which is a bunch of battle-hardened Marines who are ready to go to battle. That's their job, just to go launch from this platform. With a Navy, people who are just, not just, but who are managing that platform, managing that boat, the relationships there it's very important and not easy because they're cats and dogs. They are different animals in the zoo. And some are, I can use every zoo animal metaphor you can think of, but it's very cats and dogsy. And so the relationship management that's required for a leader in the Marine Corps that is like Sean, that is on the MEU, it's pretty amazing. So that's a really good skill set to highlight from that experience. So tell us about how the MEU deployed and give us an example of one of your deployments with a MEU.
Okay, so I'll give it to we'll go to 2011 timeframe when I'm with Recon. So we worked for the command element. We deployed from North Carolina, Virginia really is where they keep all the boats. Ships, don't call them boats, not to a Navy person. So we're on there and a lot of Marines don't like the MEU because they're sitting around a lot and there's not always a lot of employment. But so this is saying in Afghanistan was really bad. Some of our brothers over in 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines were getting hit pretty hard and they needed some reinforcements. So let me go back a little. I love news because you never know what's going to happen. I like the uncertainty. It keeps you kind of on your toes, and you just kind of prepare for everything, and possibly execute nothing. But so the infantry battalion, the ground combat element on the MU, got sent into Afghanistan to. Uh, we were the only gunfighters left on that ship. Well, meanwhile, everything is kicking off, and we're starting to now we have to go support what's called tactical recovery of aircraft personnel because everything is going off in I'm having a where was that at? Well, I can't think of the country.
Oh, you mean Libya? Yeah, you're going
Yeah,
into Libya.
Libya. Sorry, I kept on wanting to say Egypt, and I knew that wasn't correct.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah,
Um, so
yeah.
Libya. So we're sitting off the coast of Libya, and me and my buddies would go out on the flight deck at night, and we're watching tomahawks from other ships and subs and aircraft that are being launched nonstop off of our ship, the old Harriers that are now replaced by the F-35s. And
And
we,
let me pause you on that too, just for the
yeah, yeah,
audience. So I was in Europe at the exact same time that uh we will, Cal, absolutely. Thank you. I was in Europe at the exact same time that this Odyssey Dawn, this operation when Gaddafi was getting hunted and North Africa, all that, you know, Arab Spring and the issues with Northern Africa and Libya. And so there was like a complete governmental collapse in Libya, which caused all types of mayhem. Sean's quite literally on the front lines watching this happen, and he's getting, you know, they're ready for their mission. Go for it.
yeah. So we're sitting there, and since we were the only guys, everybody else got sent to Afghanistan. So initially, we were super mad about that. Like, how come we didn't get to go? And it was because they needed this quick reaction force, this trap team, tactical recovery of aircraft personnel. And so we're like, dude, that's not our mission. They sent the guys in. Normally the infantry does that, an infantry company. We are a 23-man recon platoon. And they're like, hey, you guys are going to do this. Well, we work in 6-man teams, never as a whole platoon, really. And so we're training, trying to figure out how to move together, all this stuff. And it's really just taking 6-man team tactics and applying it to 3 6-man team tactics. And so they're doing the callaways and stuff like that, rehearsal. So one night about 2 a.m., the call goes and they say, hey, now set trap alert 120. So that means we have 2 hours till we launch. And then we have to draw ammo, figure out what's going on. And we've been doing these rehearsals for weeks. So it's kind of like the boy who cried wolf, right? So everybody's kind of moving slow, getting dressed, getting their gear. One of my best friends in the world, Derek, he goes up to the intel center. He calls me back down. He calls back down to our living space and he says, hey, this one's real. We just had an F-18 go down in Libya. Pilots ejected, and we're going to get them. So get out there, and everybody laughs at me when I tell the stories. We were on the ground literally 30 seconds. We're flying in Ospreys, and looking at. They have this little screen, you know, like an iPad in an aircraft. It's called a cabin situational awareness device. So we're flying at 200 feet, terrain flying in these Ospreys, which a lot of people don't like to fly in. I love them because of this one scenario. But I'm looking at this screen, and I'm seeing that we're flying over live surface to air threats. And I'm like, man, I don't want to see that. So I hang it back up. I was like, I'll figure out what direction we're going when we get on the ground. I got a compass, I got a GPS. So I hang that back up. We literally landed right on top of this guy. We're 20 feet away from this guy, the pilot.
So you had an F-18 fighter that was attacking targets in Libya, got shot down or broke, somehow crash landed, and you got the call to go recover that pilot on the ground in Libya, and you were on a ship in the middle of the Mediterranean. Is that correct?
Correct.
Oh,
So yeah, the
not for the
pilot,
faint of heart.
yeah, the pilot and his backseater ejected at about 20,000 feet. They had been having issues with fuel lines and different things like that, freezing. And they ejected at 20,000 feet. The last time they talked was under canopy at about 16,000 feet under their parachutes. One of them, the backseater, got picked up by rebel forces and taken to a safe house. And we picked up the pilot. And to see, I've never seen like the pure joy, like that emotion from another human as I have with this pilot. He's sitting there and he's still got his water. He's drinking water from his pouch. And we're like, hey man, do you want some actual water? We had him in Nalgene. And he looks over and one of our parachute riggers was sitting there and he had an 84 millimeter missile launcher. Because we had been told like, hey, this guy is being pursued by ground forces. The pilot actually dropped 2 bombs in between him and rebel forces to kind of delay, and so he could find a place to hold up.
Yeah.
And so he's just super happy. He's like, "Man, is that a bazooka?" Well, obviously, we don't call it a bazooka, but to a pilot, maybe that's what he saw it as.
Yeah.
And he, I love you guys so much. Thank you so much. And we get him back, and we were going to go back out and get the back seater, but they ended up. He went to a safe house. Some other people that are there that just live there, exist,
Yeah.
that picked him up and took him to a safe house, so he got to fly commercial on the Sundey back.
Yeah, that's really quite a story. So for the audience, plane goes down so the pilot and the navigator, all right, eject, all right, and they're swinging down on their parachutes and they're talking to each other. Last they talked to each other was 18,000 feet, and then they lost communications. They land. One goes to a safe house and gets picked up by some irregular forces. It could be intel forces or special operative, whatever, doesn't matter. The other guy gets picked up by Sean's Marine unit off of a ship. And that guy's got the wherewithal to drop bombs, to call in aircraft that he was probably just flying with, to drop bombs to prevent enemy forces from maneuvering onto him. That is about the most dynamic situation. And by the way, you guys flew in on these tilt rotor Ospreys, these MV-22 Ospreys, land on top of this guy, pick him up and fly him back.
Yeah.
And then this guy continues to go and have a career. And what happened? I guess he kept in touch with you afterwards, of course.
He did for a little bit. Yeah, he sent us all some of his coins. He was very thankful. Wrote everybody in the platoon handwritten letters, just saying thanks. And it was truly an awesome experience. And just it's the uncertainty that we live in when we're on the Mew, and we plan for everything and maybe execute nothing. But those planning cycles are very detail oriented in the case that something does happen. And so it's a very fluid environment. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. It can be challenging managing personnel and details of missions all at the same time, but I enjoy it.
So you'll be surprised at that skill set and that desire for fluidity, dynamic working environment, quick thinking, communicating. That sounds like several people on the call right now. Exact same skill sets, different industry, same skill sets. So I'm really excited for your future in the next phase. Hey, listen, from the audience, civilians know what SEALs are. They've heard, airborne rangers. Can you explain how Marine recon compares? Talk training, working with other units, etc. Can you talk through the specialties, the reason for recon?
Sure. So recon, we have a similar pipeline, if you will, training pipeline that takes us through all of our tools. So we are a conventional force. Everybody in the Marine Corps exists to support the Marine Corps infantry. So what we are the forward eyes and ears of that battalion commander traditionally. We would go ahead of friendly lines, behind enemy lines, and we report back on different objectives, on different we can control air, deep belong in the regimental battle space. So battalion infantry, they have snipers that work in that battalion. Everything is about distances on maps. And then you got reconnaissance that goes out, and then you've got force reconnaissance that is allowed out a little bit further. And all we're trying to do is shape that picture for the ground forces commander to make decisions. So we're enabling decision making by pictures, handwritten reports, stuff like that. Now our training, we do a lot of the same stuff. We are military free fallers. So I think skydiving, except it's not as fun because now you're doing it with a 120-pound pack on you, or some guys are jumping 300, 400-pound barrels, or other passengers, enablers, divers, Marine combatant divers, which is another, all our schools are SOCOM accredited so that we can do this in support of special forces, in support of a larger combat element. So our dive school, we dive Mark 25, pure oxygen rebreathers, cap out. Our deepest we can go on those is 25 feet. And then we have scuba, more for searches and stuff like that. We send our guys to sniper school. Recently, our Marine Corps sniper school was shut down, unfortunately. I went to the old sniper school. Now the schoolhouse that I work at has the only sniper school. It's a recon sniper course. So you have to be MARSOC or recon to attend this course now. And it's pretty awesome just knowing that we have all these opportunities. We have joint terminal attack controllers. So this 6-man team has a large spread of all these people that have these different capabilities. And then the insertion method is just how we get to work, whether it's diving, whether it's jumping, whatever have you. So one of the things we say is a jack of all trades, master of none in our community, because we're good at a little bit of everything, just enough to be dangerous at it,
Yeah, right. Yeah. But you're professional and you understand the capabilities, and that's how that system all works. Yeah, very interesting. And what's a really neat as for the audience, what me and Sean were talking about when we were, getting to know each other before this. While he was, flying in and saving that pilot that had gotten shot out of the sky in Libya, my unit in Stuttgart had gotten that alert too, and we were the backup to these guys because they were like, hey, we have Marines coming in, but we need a backup, and we didn't have the capabilities that the Marine the MEU did and the recon element there did, which was all the air and the communications there. We would have our mission was the Halo in to do a skydive in out of Stuttgart, fly over, jump on this guy, recover him, and then move to a pickup zone, and then get picked up, later. We've been way different. And you guys had the CV-22s right there on the deck and did that. And it was really neat to see the connection there. I was like, man, I'm so happy to have met somebody that did that mission because they looked really awesome. Very exciting. And you did it superbly because nobody heard about it and
Right.
everybody came out safe. Wonderful. So I want to move. So you've had a remarkable career and you've done some really great things from the reserves to start off to the active, Marine infantry to Marine recon, several MEUs. You've got experience in the Mediterranean, the Pacific theater. You're transitioning now. Let's transition to the transitioning. Before we do that, this is an important one. Tell us what you're doing right now. Right now,
Okay.
the very last job in the military, right? Very last job in the Marine Corps. How are you having an impact on this next generation? What are you doing?
So right now I am the operations chief, the equivalent of the operations manager for the basic recon schoolhouse.
Yeah.
So I'm here in Southern California, and this is the only schoolhouse, and we train basic Marines in basic reconnaissance. We set them up to go to their pipeline of schools, airborne free fall, dive, and SEER school, survival, evasion, resistance, escape. And then we send them to their units. We also have the recon sniper course, and we are revamping our team leaders course. So Marines from the fleet will come back from the Fleet Marine Corps, and the recon units will come back to our schoolhouse, and we teach them how to be more efficient, better team leaders. And so I ended up back here. I wasn't planning on transitioning out of the Marine Corps, but I got here and I was like, what better place to finish my career than where it all started, in the recon community anyways, in 2009. I'm back at work. My senior enlisted is one of my basic recon instructors. So there's a little bit of history in all of that brings me back here, and it's awesome being able to teach the young Marines that are coming through our course,
Mhm.
watching them go through their trials and tribulations. Water is a great equalizer. Putting them in a pool, um, teaching them the lessons of how to be successful, and really sitting down with these young guys that are, some of them are doing the hardest thing they've ever done. I talk to them a lot. I relate a lot of stuff to sports. And I like, hey, what's the hardest football, hockey? What's the hardest practice you've ever had? Do you actually remember
Yeah.
what your worst day was? And everybody says no. And I think, well, today's your worst day. You're not even going to remember it. All you got to do, don't quit and do the best. You put out as much as you can. I love interacting with getting the opportunity to lead these guys, especially as I'm leaving the Marine Corps.
Mhm. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, one day at a time. Don't quit. It's one day at a time.
Good.
Yeah, those are lifelong lessons, and they're going to remember you when they're running this course here in a few years. And so, well done with that, Sean. So talking transition, you're looking to transition out. You're going to retire here soon. What do you want to do when you get out?
So I don't I don't exactly know. I think the most important part of this, somebody told me you get to choose one of two things: where you want to go or what you want to do. So I've already chosen where I want to go, and that's Huntsville, Alabama. That's where I'm from. I've moved my wife around for the last 16 years that we've been married, and 3 kids, and they've supported me in everything that I want to do. So I am moving to Huntsville. What I want to do is I want to be a part of a high functioning team with the ability to potentially lead that team in a dynamic environment, fluid environment. I enjoy the changes. I need that excitement in my life. Um, I don't care to carry guns anymore. You can see a lot of guys that get out and want to do contracting and stuff like that. And I'm like, dude, no, I've tested my luck enough. I don't need to do that. I'm happy dressing like this or doing something like that, a little bit more steady for my family.
Yeah.
So just being a part, I like problem solving
Yeah.
and coming up with viable solutions to meet a larger end state and those common goals for a corporation or a company.
So, I mean, you're nailing it. Problem solving is the name of the game. You know, there are um, very few industries that don't have anything new pop up, that don't have something hard or challenging that you got to solve and figure out. And your ability to just get her done and and see where you want to go and maneuver and drive through any of those obstacles to get to where you want to go, and with the team is really important. So yeah, fast-paced environments are exciting too. Sounds like somebody like you just won't allow yourself to be bored. I think I can understand that. So tell me, when you're not doing like awesome things and flying a osprey into a combat zone, or I want to say breathing a rebreather, what diving on a rebreather, which sounds like an oxymoron, but got to be obviously pretty exciting. And you're training the next generation of warriors how to insert and operate deep behind enemy lines. When you're not doing that, what are you doing on your free time?
So I've had a lot of hobbies. The one constant has been hockey for me. So I started playing travel hockey when I was a kid in Huntsville, Alabama, of all places. Um, Big Washington Capitals fan. Um, and actually have a friend that a couple years younger than me grew up playing with. He plays for the Capitals now. I think that might be my drive towards him. It's not Ovechkin like everybody else. Uh, Everybody else might drive them too. But hockey, got big into diving in the civilian world, surfing. Now that I'm in California, it's just kind of my I'll change hobbies. And I enjoy coaching just as much as I love teaching like young Marines stuff. I coach hockey. I kind of learned lacrosse when I was in Okinawa and played on a men's team there, and then started coaching my son whenever he was 6. It's just the simple thing. I knew how to scoop, I knew how to pass, I knew how to catch, and that's what these kids needed to learn, and that's what I enjoyed doing.
Mhm.
Teaching them the basics of lacrosse so that they can go on and get better coaches when they get back to the States. But just being involved. I still play hockey. I played for the Marine Corps team. We go to tournaments in Vegas, Texas, all over the U.S. together, and it's good to be back around guys who got out. They use it as a sense of community. It's just beer league hockey, but we're playing at pretty high levels, very competitive. We're guys from the Naval Academy and guys Air Force Academy that played, and it's just a lot of fun. It's a good community.
That's wonderful. Yeah, it sounds like the coaching theme that I'm hearing, as we chat is very good, a very strong character trait of yourself. You've done it professionally, you're doing that now, and with kids on the ice, or on the athletic field. That competitiveness, that I'm just, eliciting the skill sets for your next transition, for your next season of life. That competitiveness sounds like a hallmark, and that's a good thing, right? Because there's some people that just aren't competitive out there. But I will say, business is a contact sport. It is competitive, right? And so that's going to be a strong trade for you in the next season of life. I'm excited to see how that plays out for you. And it's going to be a really neat process to see how it unfolds for you. So we're at 5 minutes before our end time. I'd like to offer the opportunity to our audience to see if they have any questions or comments that they'd like to say to you. We have got a couple here, but I'll pause for a few minutes if anybody has anything.
Sean, I'll go ahead and pipe in. This Cal Quinn. Appreciate your perspective. I don't know that there's a real understanding. I mean, it's hard to explain sunset, right, to somebody who wasn't there with you. So it's probably hard to explain understanding training for several weeks and actually getting the call and jumping on an Osprey. I knew Ospreys early in their career in the military, and we called them lawn darts because they continually went down, right? So the fact that you were jumping in it with confidence, looking at all these enemies as you were flying at 200 feet above the surface into danger's mouth, that's some serious stuff. That's some real stuff that is terrifying and difficult. But I think maybe what people don't understand or don't fully appreciate in hearing kind of the end result is the years of training and practice and teamwork and certifications in equipment and everything that it took for you to get into that V-22, right? So that you were in a position to be able to save that man's life, right? And if you can take a second to talk about how you take that dearth of training, the ability to acquire all those individual skill sets and then pull them together in one functioning cohesive unit that's integrated with other aspects of the military. How do you take that and translate it into a civilian career? What are the attributes that it takes to be able to do something like what you did on that evening, and how can those attributes matriculate into a civilian career?
So I think a lot of it, my big thing is communication, up, down, laterally. Communication it can solve a lot. That communication would drive that team, the teamwork and trust. So if you have those things, in my opinion, when you're part of a team, if you're able to communicate openly about whether you're succeeding, failing, what your problems are, and being able to take a step back, everybody thinks that their problem is the most important one at that time, right? Everybody has their own goal that they have to reach for their side of the project. But being able to take that step back, understand everybody's perspective, understand that no one has the complete right answer. I certainly don't think I have all the answers, but that's why we have teams. Because somebody else may have, hey, maybe I looked at it this way from this previous experience, or hey, let's look at it this way. And taking all of that and then bring it into a collective. You've already got the team that everybody trusts each other. Now we're communicating, and now we've got multiple ways to solve this problem. And that drives contingencies. Hey, if this doesn't work, then we're going to try this, from the military perspective. But in the civilian side, being able to bring all that together, that's some of the intangibles that I struggle putting on a resume. like, hey, this is how I can lead this team. And it's until I get on this phone conversation with people that I can really say, hey, this is what I did at all these different billets and how it applies. So I think that's important. Communication, I think, rules all. And then understanding the team, and while they may appoint you or I as the leader, that is just to drive that group. We are there to listen to everybody else because they have their positions in that team as well, and they're all equally important. It's just you're the one responsible at the end of the day for putting it all on paper and then sending it up to hire to meet that end state.
One of the attributes of the Marine Corps that I appreciate more than any of the other services, to include Navy, where I served, but is the idea that every Marine, once they become an E2, is a leader, right? And the development of that mindset. So, communication is necessary because we all have different jobs. One is not necessarily more important than the other. We're all integrated into this, and you learning that and exhibiting it in highly stressful environments is something that translates very nicely. I love the idea that you're identifying location and supporting your family. Huntsville, Alabama is not a huge repository of institutional banks and investment banks, but there is a surprising amount of business there. I mean, you're probably aware of this, but the FBI has a meaningful footprint there. Blue Origin Rocket Center is in Huntsville. You've got, a number of Fortune 500 companies, from Facebook to Toyota, that are in that area. One of the things that everybody on this call has in common, maybe the only thing that we all have in common, is desire to help you and men like you. And so, understand that, work through Will, mine our group. We want to help you in any way that we can as you transition. Believe in the skill set that you developed and became an expert in your military service, and see it as a valuable trait that needs to be delivered in the civilian markets. We want to help you to do that.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, Cal. Thank you very much. Like I said, this opportunity is phenomenal. Just meeting everybody. Just getting the opportunity to tell my story and how I look at things, and not that my story is any, there's people that got much better stories than I got, it's just the opportunity. I'm thankful for every opportunity, especially this that you guys have afforded me. So thank you.
Wonderful. Thanks, Cal. Sean, nice dialogue there. So we're at our time. I'll pause for a second if anybody had anything else. To our friends in the audience, we really hope this Patriot Lunch provides you an opportunity to enjoy the dialogue between a very high-performing, well-recognized, accomplished veteran that's on his way to transition out into your corporate spaces. Dennis, did you have anything? Or you can.
Yeah. A quick, if you have a resume you can send me, I'd be more than happy. Although I'm in California, I'm a supply diversity manager. I think Sean would rather my other job, which is an off-ice official for the NHL for the last 28 years. Also used to referee lacrosse, indoor lacrosse. But send me your resume, Cal. Great. And thank you all that served. I really do appreciate it. My father, my cousins, my nephews, all in the military. I did not get a chance to serve, but just humbled by the work and any way that we can help, we're here to help. And all the utilities have hiring for veterans right now, and leadership they need, definitely. Been with this Edison for going on 38 years. I worked in the East Coast on Con Edison for 10 years, so a long time in the utility. Cal can tell you, Bill Minjone can tell you, and we just try to help any way we can. So that's it. But send me your resume if you don't mind.
Sean, you're gonna do two things today that are very important. The first one is tell your wife and your family that you love them. The second is to send Dennis Thurston your resume, because he's a tremendous man and he has a heart to care and serve, and he knows a whole lot of people. It's easy, good people, attach yourself with good people, and they know a lot of other good people. So what's been offered to you just now is quite meaningful. You need to take advantage of it. If you don't, I'm going to send you a nasty letter.
I'll get it out to you today, Dennis. Thank you.
And Dennis, it's great to see you again. Hope you've been well. Sean, want to just thank you so much for attending today. You freely chose to dedicate your life. You're willing to give it to the utmost to serve our nation and protect our freedom. To you, that was an everyday you showed up to work. To me, now that I'm out, that's huge. Because I need people like you. I need people that are willing to raise their hand and freely choose to give the ultimate sacrifice, which I'm grateful for your service. Thank you. Thank you for your time on behalf of Bancroft Capital Corporate America. Thank you for your service and sacrifice. So we will do a follow-up with the replay link. You guys can listen, pass it along, please. I highly encourage you to pass it along to your network. Listen to it as you commute, and reach out to Sean. Sean, I'll provide Sean your guys' information. He can reach out to you too. Stay tuned for our next Patriot lunch, which will be on Thursday, May 16th. Again, forward that out to your networks. We succeed when people come to this to listen to the veteran and offer their support and help to help that transition. It's just that simple. It's a half an hour of your life. So thanks for your time, everybody, and great to see you, Sean. A lot closing comments to you, buddy.
Like I said, I appreciate the opportunity, appreciate all the support. Everybody, they say thank you for your service, and we got told in the soda, like, hey, what is your reply to that? A lot of people just, it kind of irks us, but I truly, from the bottom of my heart, it was an honor to serve and to have the opportunity to serve. So thank you for all the support that you guys continue to give, even as I am starting to transition out. So thank you very much for the opportunity, and I look forward to talking to all of you.
Okay, good to go. Thanks, Sean. Have a great day. Looking forward to seeing you all in May.